This lecture is for Living Earth. Continuing into Unit 1.1, we're talking about Earth's spheres. Earth's spheres. We are continuing to build into our essential question and our ability to respond to this essential question. Last lecture, we talked about the geosphere, and we're going to continue to build our response today by talking about the hydrosphere. So today's main topic is the hydrosphere. 70% of our planet's surface is water. The hydrosphere includes all water in our Earth system. 97% of water on Earth is found in its oceans. 97%. The remaining 3% of liquid water is found in lakes, rivers, and as groundwater. Water also exists in the form of ice and in the atmosphere. Water is classified by its percentage of dissolved solids. Freshwater, for example, is characterized by low concentrations of dissolved solids. Freshwater is typically less than 0.5 parts per thousand. Saltwater, on the other hand, is classified by higher concentrations of dissolved solids. Brackish water contains 0.5 to 30 parts per thousand dissolved solids. Saline water, commonly referred to as saltwater, contains 30 to 50 parts per thousand dissolved solids. And brine contains more than 50 parts per thousand dissolved solids. The ocean has an average salinity of 35 parts per thousand. And the salinity of water changes constantly as it passes through different stages of the hydrologic or water cycle. So let's talk about the cryosphere. The cryosphere. The cryosphere is the part of the hydrosphere that contains water in its solid form. Again, the cryosphere is a subsection or a part of the hydrosphere, specifically water in its solid form. Frozen water comes in a variety of forms, surprisingly. Snow, which is frozen precipitation, is found all around the world. Ice is also found throughout the world in the form of glaciers, ice shelves, sea ice, icebergs, and permafrost. These features vary in scale, however. Glaciers are massive sheets of ice on land, and an ice shelf is a glacier that moves off land into a body of water. Sea ice forms when ocean water freezes, and permafrost is permanently frozen land. Now, the poles contain most of the frozen water on Earth. The Arctic Ocean is situated over the North Pole. It is covered by sea ice that grows and then recedes with the different seasons. Permafrost, glaciers, and snow cover the northern regions of the North American and Eurasian continents, along with Greenland and Iceland. Antarctica lies over the South Pole. Glaciers cover the continent and extend as sea ice into the surrounding seas and oceans. Frozen water can also be found in the regions of high elevation, such as Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. Now let's talk about salt water. Salt water. Salt water accounts for 97% of the water on our planet. Most of this water is found in the oceans. Almost all elements in the periodic table can be found in ocean water. However, the elements are not found at the same concentration. This concentration is determined by a balance between the supply of ions, which are charged particles, from land and the removal of those ions from the ocean. Organisms, sediment, and hydrothermal vent systems add or remove elements to the oceans or from the oceans. The 6 most abundant ions in the ocean are called major constituents. They are the chloride ion, the sodium ion, the sulfate ion, the magnesium ion, the calcium ion, and potassium ion. Again, these are major constituents. The minor constituents in the ocean are dissolved salts that range in concentration from 1 to 100 parts per million. As you can see on the table here, these major and minor constituents account for more than 99% of all the dissolved ions in the ocean. Now, the concentration of the minor constituents is low because these ions are removed from the ocean more quickly than they are supplied to the ocean. The remaining ions can be found in concentrations even lower than 1 part per million. The number of trace ions, again, the ions found in concentrations lower than 1 part per million, again, we call them trace ions. The number of trace ions is too numerous to list, but includes some common ones: nitrate, lithium, rubidium, phosphate, and iodine. Concentrations of trace ions, these trace ions, are low in ocean water because, again, the ions are removed from solution by chemical reactions and different biological processes faster than they are supplied to the oceans. Let's finish up talking about fresh water. Fresh water. We've already stated that 97% of all liquid water on Earth is found in the oceans. The remaining 3% of water on the planet's surface is fresh water. However, about 69% of fresh water is trapped in glaciers and ice sheets in Antarctica and in Greenland. Around 30% of that water is groundwater. Approximately 1% of Earth's fresh water is surface water found in streams, lakes, ponds, ice, and snow. Streams and rivers begin at headwaters, and they flow to lower elevations, ending at the mouth of the river. Small rivers and streams may join to become larger rivers, and a stream or a river often empties into a lake, a bay, sea, or an ocean. The water in a river or stream may change as it flows from headwater to the mouth of that river. Temperature may increase, oxygen levels may decrease, and the clarity may be reduced. So there are major changes to a river or stream as it flows from its headwaters to the mouth. On the screen, we can see examples of ponds and lakes, and that they range in size from just a few square meters to thousands of square kilometers. The characteristics of the water will also vary depending on the depth and the shape of the water body. Groundwater is water that is found in the spaces between sediments and rock underground. The water begins as rain, snow, or ice that permeates the soil and seeps into the permeable rock. The water collects in a saturated zone beneath a boundary, and that boundary is called the water table. An aquifer is a rock unit through which the groundwater flows. An aquifer is typically gravel, sand, sandstone, or fractured or permeable rock. That'll do it for this lecture on the hydrosphere. We are going to continue to build our response to this essential question: what are the major components of the Earth system, in a future lecture. So far, last lecture, we dealt with the geosphere, and in this lecture, we added knowledge of the hydrosphere. We have 2 more spheres to go over to build our response to the essential question: what are the major components of the Earth system?